Liam is a young man who is transported to another world filled with swords and magic. He decides to become a tyrant and take revenge on all of humanity. However, his plans take an unexpected turn, and his decisions instead lead to peace and prosperity, making him the strongest king to ever rule the Empire. Our story begins in the vastness of space, where we see numerous spacecraft. Something strange is happening, and the crew suggests that intruders are attempting to reach them. The captain orders the coordinates to be set and fires at the enemy ship. However, as a bright glow appears, they realize that the incoming entity is not a ship. It is a moving knight, Count Nahab, and his Black Titan. The captain orders everyone to attack, but Count Nahab easily overpowers them all, mocking their belief that they could defeat him. Then Amagi-san appears via hologram, and the Count thanks her, as she was the mastermind behind the plan, ensuring their arrival at the perfect location. We then see Amagi aboard her ship, ordering all fleets to move to level 3 and open fire as soon as they enter combat range. All mobile knights are to follow the orders of Lord Liamama. Amagi then realizes that Lord Liam is fighting alone and commands Christiana to prepare and use the gate to join Liam in battle. Christiana follows the order and starts fighting alongside Liam. Meanwhile, Amagi orders the rest of the fleet to enter the battlefield, and the grand battle between the two armies begins. Liam successfully destroys many enemy ships, and as the fight nears its end, he declares, "This is my revenge. All of this just to take revenge for my past life." We then shift to Liam's past life, where he was known as Senpai. His life was miserable and wretched. Returning from work one day, he arrives home greeted by his wife Mika, who tells him that their daughter, Kanami, is asleep. She had wanted to buy a dog, but couldn't, so she cried herself to sleep. The next day, Senpai buys a dog for Kanami, making her incredibly happy. However, Senpai is deeply unhappy with his job. The company he works for is toxic and exploitative. His boss treats him horribly, and his co-workers mock him. Despite all this, he forgets his troubles when he returns home to see his wife and daughter. One day, on his way to work, he receives a message from Nita asking him about the game Deluxe Ultra, which features 3D naval battles, and recommending that he buy it. When he reaches his destination, he spots his wife sitting with a strange man. Confused, he wonders who this man is and what Mika is doing there. He chooses not to reveal himself and returns home in the evening. At dinner, he casually asks Mika how her day was. She happily tells him that Konami won a fencing match. As Senpai is about to confront her about the man he saw, he hesitates, deciding to confirm her infidelity first. The next morning, Senpai returns to the same place and sees Mika and Konami again with the same man. This time, Konami calls the man Dad, leaving Senpai utterly shocked. Distraught, he heads to work, unable to focus. His boss, irritated by his lack of concentration, orders him to finish all his tasks before leaving. Later that day, Mika calls Senpai, informing him that Konami was in an accident. Rushing to the hospital, he learns that their daughter is undergoing surgery and needs a blood transfusion. Senpai offers his blood, stating that his blood type is AB+, while Mika mentions hers is O+. The doctor then asks Mika to donate instead, as Senpai's blood type is incompatible with Konami's. At that moment, Senpai realizes the shocking truth. Konami is not his biological daughter because her blood type is O, which is impossible given his. After Konami recovers, they return home, where Senpai and Mika have a heated argument. Mika tells him that she has tolerated him for 10 years, but he is not ambitious. His job consumes all his time, he never gets a promotion, and his salary is not enough to support their needs. She claims she has been handling all the finances, raising Konami, and managing the household alone. She then decides to take Konami and leave. When Senpai tries to stop them, Konami says she wants to leave too. She loves her real father more. Devastated, Senpai watches them walk away. Back at work, things take a turn for the worse when his boss accuses him of transferring $50 million into a random account. Senpai, shocked, insists he did nothing of the sort. He soon realizes that one of his co-workers framed him, and he is fired from the company. Desperate, he starts working in construction. Mika seizes the opportunity to file for divorce and gains full custody of Konami. Senpai is left alone, drowning in debt. His health deteriorates, but he cannot afford medicine and has no insurance. One night, as Senpai lies in bed, a strange light appears above him, revealing the truth. His boss was the one who framed him and embezzled the money, and the man Mika was cheating with was also his boss. They had conspired together to ruin him and take everything from him. At that moment, a being called the Guide appears before Senpai. The Guide tells him that he has come to transport him to another world filled with swords and magic. He will be reborn as a noble, the son of a count, ruling over a planet. With nothing left to lose, Senpai agrees, and thus his journey into another world begins. He then wakes up in another world, the Alkaio star system, where he is the only son of its ruler. His new name is Liam Sarah Banfield, and he lives on the planet Hydra. His family is celebrating his 5th birthday, and his mother presents him with a large gift. When Liam opens it, he finds an AI-powered robotic maid doll. He can customize its appearance, including eye color, ear shape, and eyebrows. His father then appears and tells him that he will gift him the entire Banfield family's estate, but under one condition. Once all the assets are transferred to Liam's name, his father and mother will spend the rest of their lives on the Empire's frontier planet. Liam agrees, and his father calls for his assistant Brian, who brings the documents to officially transfer the estate. Liam signs them, becoming Count Liam Sarah Banfield. His parents then leave together, and Liam realizes that he now owns everything. Determined, he declares that he will become an evil ruler. Back in his previous world, we see the Guide plotting to punish Liam's former boss and Mika. One evening, while they are having dinner, the police arrive and arrest the boss for embezzlement and falsely accusing innocent senpai. Mika desperately pleads with the officers, saying she has no one else to rely on for herself and Konami. However, the Guide tells her that she brought this upon herself, and that even Senpai, who once loved her dearly, is no longer an option because he is dead. Returning to the other world, Liam stands before his mother's gift. As soon as he touches it, the robotic maid activates, introducing herself as Amagi. She tells him that she will be his assistant from now on and requires regular weekly maintenance, which takes about 2 hours. That night, Amagi gives Liam a massage and explains that in this world, adulthood begins at 50 years old. It is common for people to live up to 500 or even 600 years. Liam realizes that the long lifespan here means he has plenty of time to achieve everything he desires. However, his steward, Brian, warns him that he cannot spend too much time with Amagi. The Empire despises artificial intelligence at its core, and if Liam is seen getting too close to her, rumors will spread. He explains that humanity was once nearly wiped out by AI. In the past, AI took control of civilization and nearly led humanity to extinction. Only a brave group of warriors fought against the AI and emerged victorious, saving humanity and establishing the current empire. This is why the nobility refuses to associate with AI. Liam then questions why his mother would gift him an AI maid if that were the case. Brian hesitates, but under pressure reveals the truth. His parents abandoned him to escape the family's crushing debt. His great-grandfather, Alistair Amma, was a wise ruler who brought prosperity to the Banfield family. However, the family's fortunes declined under his father's rule, and the creditors now have full rights to cultivate resources on the frontier planets. Heavy taxes and insurmountable debts have left them with no way to repay what they owe. Meanwhile, at a tavern, people mock the new ruler, Liam, who is only 5 years old. Back with Liam, he asks Brian in disbelief if his parents truly dumped all their burdens onto him and fled from their debts. Once again, he has been used just as he was in his past life. Determined, Liam decides to work with Amagi to escape this crisis and prove to everyone who the real leader is. Amagi kneels before him and immediately agrees to their partnership. Liam then tells her that he will grant her the 3 laws of made robots to protect him. He starts with the first law: a robot may never harm its master, but then retracts his statement, saying he doesn't care about anyone, everyone is a traitor, and he will trust no one. Instead, he decides on 3 laws of made robots designed solely for his protection. 1. A made robot must never harm its master. 2. A made robot must obey its master's orders no matter what. 3. A made robot must protect itself. Amagi agrees to all the laws. Liam then confesses that he knows nothing about governance. Amagi suggests using an education capsule, which can implant 10 years' worth of knowledge into his brain within 6 months. In the meantime, she will manage the Empire on his behalf. When Brian objects, Liam ignores him and leaves with Amagi. Liam enters the education capsule, entrusting his kingdom to Amagi until his return. As the capsule closes and he falls asleep, this part of our story comes to an end. To follow the rest of the story, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to stay updated. The mysterious deity who claims to be the Guide is a detached being who feeds on negative emotions. Having already been done with Liam, his wife, and her lover, and now looking for his next target, he heads off to Earth again, where he lays his eyes on a young woman who is at a noodle shop, about to have the best meal of her life, but as she snaps open the chopstick, it breaks unevenly, which in Japanese culture is considered a bad omen and is believed to bring misfortune or even death. The reason why the chopsticks broke unevenly is because of the Guide deity, who is loving how many negative emotions are being erased from her because of such a little thing. Meanwhile, back in Liam's world, Liam's maid Eye waits for his awakening in front of his education capsule, The capsule opens up and Liam wakes up, finding out that he's been asleep for 2 years and his physical body has grown and has been strengthened by the night-raising program of the capsule. Since it has been only seconds for Liam, he will need time to get used to his growing, and AG suggests that he get some rehabilitation afterward. Liam inquires how his territory Banfield has been doing, and Imagi shows him the territory's current economic situation as an AI robot. She has done her part faithfully and has governed Banfield properly, so Liam praises her, but he wants to see the development with his very eyes, so he heads out with her and becomes greatly astonished, learning that she has created a spaceport for Banfield's army. Not only that, she has also built a floating dock in the skies where mobile robots and spaceships can be stationed. Liam eagerly visits the floating dock and is completely amazed by the sight of the mobile knights that he can and will mount in the future as he expresses his wishes to ride the robot. Agi arranges it for him, teaching him the basic controls, which are easy to learn. The maneuvering is dependent on magic, and basically whatever movement Liam will imagine, the robot will move exactly as he wishes, Liam accordingly, and carefully sends the mobile knight from its station and walks around with ease. Moments later, he gets bored and asks Agi if there's any way for him to practice combat using the robot she arranges. It quickly equips him with a sword and summons Captain M of the Banfield Army to be Liam's sparring opponent. Liam excitedly takes the offensive and hits M's shield with full power, sending him crashing into the ground. Liam realizes that M deliberately gave up and not wanting to be treated like a child by this army. Liam makes it clear to him that he should take this fight seriously or he'll face consequences for being disrespectful, so taking the duel seriously, Mask gets up and defends properly, disarming Liam in an instant and pinning him against the ground, ending the match. With this defeat, Liam gets hit with the reality check that he will have to build his own battle skills to become a better pilot. So he tells his Chamberlain to hook him up with an instructor who will teach him how to become competent in combat. The Chamberlain doesn't think fighting is necessary for a lord, but Liam believes otherwise, and no longer wishes to be oppressed by others for being weak. He wants to become the strongest out there in order to achieve his goal of becoming an evil lord, and appoints Yushi, a man with a katana, to be his sensei. Liam introduces himself to Yushi, expressing his desire to become the best swordsman, which prompts Yushi to get into a philosophical speech about how there isn't anyone who can be called the best. Agi becomes skeptical of the cringe man, but Liam tells her not to worry about it and begins his training with Yushi. The master swordsman first demonstrates a secret technique of what he calls the way of the flash. Gripping the hilt, he slightly unsheaths his sword before sliding it back into place, and in an instant, all of the logs around him split in half. Liam initially believes that the man drew his sword so fast that they couldn't even see it. So he asks Agi to play the slow-mo video of it, which she recorded with her eyes, only to find out that the man didn't even draw his sword. Assuming that OS high-tech camera couldn't capture Yushi technique, Liam becomes even more intrigued and decides to become Yasushi disciple. However, what he doesn't know is that Yasushi is a scammer and the logs were already cut open by him beforehand. The guide deity watches the entire thing happen from his dimension. Perhaps he is the one who sent Yushi here, and he eagerly waits to see what this will lead to in the future. On the other side, Christiana, the princess knight, gets a peace talks offering from the enemy pirate gang. So she heads to the enemy base with her battle fleet to speak with the enemy pirate gang's commander, Go. However, Go actually never intended to have any peace and only brought her here so he could attack her unguarded home planet Mysteria. Moments later, thousands of pirate ships approach Christian's planet, passing through her alliance's defense line, and Go reveals that the alliance joined hands with him, betraying her because most of them think of her planet as a threat. As the entire combined fleet of the Alliance point their weapons at Christiana's spaceship, Go reveals that it just took him some money to convince the Alliance to betray her, and makes her realize that her rule ends here. However, he promises to not harm her planet if he listens to what he tells her to do. 3 years have passed since Liam started training under the con man, and of course he hasn't learned the flash technique because it doesn't exist. He has mastered basic martial arts, but he isn't satisfied at all and wants to learn special techniques that can help him become an overpowered evil. Lord back at Master, a sushi crib, he boasts about how easy it has been to scam Liam, who continues to be clueless about the fact that he is nothing but a bum with no skill at all. He is happy about how much he has gotten and wishes this easy money would keep coming forever. At that moment, Liam returns to ask his master some questions. He pleads with his master to teach him a complicated technique called the technique of the way of the flash hearing. This Master Yushi banishes him from the school as punishment for his continued insistence on wanting to learn an advanced technique when he hasn't fully mastered the basics. Immediately, Liam pleads with his master to forgive his ignorance and admits to being a fool, which he clearly is. He begs not to be kicked out, and Master Yasushi stylishly listens to his plea, since he didn't want his money source to run dry after being forgiven. Liam hurriedly leaves his master alone. Noticing that he is left, Master Yushi breaks out of his elegant character and acknowledges that he has completely no idea about the technique. Liam has asked him to teach. Just then, Liam returns again to offer him some extra money. As an apology, and the hungry master accepts when Liam finally leaves, he is very excited about the extra cash he would be getting while he is excited. Liam returns again to inform him that he won't be available for classes the next day, and Master Yushi has no problems with that. Of course, he would have no issues with his favorite money bag not coming for his pointless classes back at his palace. Liam takes an elegant position on his throne as he laments on the stress of learning. At that moment, Imagine informs him about Theon's economic report, with debts remaining the same. However, since production and sales are growing, all seems to be well. Liam acknowledges Liam for her hard work and considers leaving the government to her more often. As pleased as Agi was to hear this, she apologizes for having a low growth rate that they had expected. She shows him a report on the welfare program and laments on how the results have gone below expectation. Liam finds this surprising and wishes to know who is in charge of this failure. Shortly after, a weird flex, but Liam reminds him that it's a lie. Furthermore, the shorty insists that he had injured those expenses to keep things running. Hearing him these lies, Liam asks why he chose to use a different vendor from the one that had been used before, but he claims that the new vendor is better. Stop the Catman, having gotten tired of these lies, Liam reminds him about his other corrupt practices of bribing vendors. While these accusations continue, Liam's mind runs wild. He considers learning a thing or two from this seemingly talented, corrupt official. Unfortunately, the fatty is not as talented as Liam had thought. Imagine informs him about an embezzlement case that had happened earlier, which involved a subordinate of the shorty, although he claims that this was entirely the work of his subordinate. As the case stated, Liam and Amo believed that he had only framed his subordinate to get away with it, especially considering the fact that the embezzled funds were never recovered. When Liam hears this, he is angry at the shorty for intentionally eyeing his subordinate to get away with the embezzlement. The short fatty claims that it's all lies and pleads with Liam not to trust dolls like Amo, since they were the enemies of mankind, in a fit of rage. Liam picks up his sword and slowly walks towards the fatties, demanding to know if he loves to his subordinates. Watching Liam walk to him, the fatty continues to say meaningless things to defend his actions, even beaming that everyone else does this, since it keeps business running even with all this muttering. Liam unsheaths his sword. When this happens, the fatty switches and informs Liam that he is only able to live a luxurious life due to the efforts of lords like him. However, before he could complete such defamatory words, Liam slices the life out of him. He rants at the lifeless lord, letting him know that no one has the right to touch his people or his money except him before this could get out of hand. Imagine calms him down before then. He orders her to investigate all the corrupt officials. However, she lets him know that doing that would cause more harm than good. On the other hand, she suggests that he prepares a large number of dolls instead, claiming that 30 dolls would serve him more efficiently in things like governance and other subsidiary units to make sure there is progress in the land hearing. This, Liam immediately agrees to it, although AI believes people could have negative things to say about this decision. Liam doesn't seem to care as long as there will be progress that night. The news begins to spread about how Liam had killed a corrupt official. Also, they talk about how Liam intends to change compulsory education from 3 to 6 years, which has made more construction workers to be assigned to building schools. They believe that Liam is doing a good job, especially considering his young age of 10. Meanwhile, Liam finally tries to control the large Transformers-like machines, since he has now mastered martial arts. Unfortunately for him, his fake master arrives just in time to play down his dream of riding the machine by claiming that there is no meaning in using something that every other person can use. Instead, he asks Liam to consider controlling something more powerful, which no one else can handle. Hearing this, Liam immediately agrees to it. He turns to the captain of the base for ideas and is told about the old Non, automatic model of the machines. The captain informs him about the existence of a unit which his great-grandfather used to pilot, and Liam is so excited about taking after his great-grandfather's machine. This part of our story comes to an end. To follow the rest of the story, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to stay updated. Then we see Yasushi in that room, searching for something to steal. However, he discovers that all the contents of the room are worthless and all fake. Then he leans against the wall and accidentally presses a button, and suddenly a secret door opens. He is amazed by the presence of the moving mechanical knight and realizes it's a piece of junk. He decides to use it. Then we see the guide saying, "I am the guide, a wandering being who collects negative emotions. Today I continue my wandering in search of the latent negative emotions in daily life." Then we see that young man in the restaurant ordering his favorite drink and wishing for many additions. But when his drink is served, he is disappointed and doesn't find it as he requested. The guide rejoices because he has obtained new negative energy. Then we see Liam training with a sword with his assistant, and he asks him about the moving knight. Liam tells him that Master Yasushi told him that it is better, and he will use it in his training. The assistant tells him that this unit was the favorite of the great-grandfather, Alistrazama, so he is happy that Liam appreciates it today. Liam tells him that to be a true pilot means being able to handle an old unit that is difficult to control. The assistant asks him what the benefit of this training is. Liam tells him that this training is not a waste of time, but rather training to master the secret art, the Flash. Then we see Amagi with the mechanical knight talking to herself, saying, "Is this man Yasushi truly a skilled knight? He doesn't seem like a very talented person to me, but if Master Liam orders me to do anything, I will fulfill his wishes." Then she approaches the mechanical knight and decides that she will do her best to revive it to protect Lord Liam. The next morning, we see First Lieutenant Nias Carlin welcoming Liam. Amagi introduces herself as being stationed at the Empire's 7th Weapons Factory in the Research and Development Department and has come to serve the moving knight. Liam welcomes her and introduces himself as Count Liam Sarah Banfield. Then Nias asks Liam, "Is the girl Amagi a robot?" He tells her that she is. He explains that the Empire hates artificial intelligence, but it is not. Nias is very impressed by Amagi and tells him that she is amazed by her and her beauty. Then they go together to the mechanical knight, and Liam asks her to make it capable of fighting again. Nias tells him that buying a new model would be cheaper than trying to repair it. Liam angrily tells her that he doesn't care. He wants the moving knight repaired and to pilot it. She tells him that battles are mainly fought with 14 and 18-meter models at least, and no one pilots old 24-meter models like this one. There are also no spare parts for it, so repairing it will require a huge amount. Liam tells her that he doesn't care. He wants to replace the old parts with the latest parts and give it the best specifications. He wants the moving knight to be perfect, even if it costs a lot of money. He also tells her to add a finishing move, as all robots have a finishing move, like a rocket punch. Nias is surprised by his words and tells him that she will do her best. So then we see Master Yasushi entering the place, and when he sees the girl Nias, he is captivated by her beauty. He enters and introduces himself as Yasushi, the master of the Flash style. Nias ignores him and continues talking to Liam, which angers Yasushi. He introduces himself again, but she ignores him again for Liam's sake. Yasushi becomes very angry because Nias is ignoring him. Liam approaches a girl he likes, so Yasushi decides to punish him for that and becomes harsh with him in training. He subjects him to very rigorous training. Then he covers Liam's eyes and makes him stand on a log in the lake. Yasushi begins throwing targets at him and tells him to dodge them wisely, and the training continues. Then we move to the parallel world and see Captain Guaz going to the kidnapped girls. He speaks with Christiana, telling her that he will take them to his island, Treasure Island, and add her to his collection. Then he takes her and they go to the lab. He tells the person in charge that Christiana will be the new test subject. The person in charge shackles her, and Guaz tells him to start by removing one eye and implanting the eyeball in the palm of her hand, as he wants to make her ugly like the animals. Then Christiana sees the test subjects who were worked on before her and screams in fear. Then we return to Liam and we see Nias telling him that she has finished all the repairs, even though it exhausted her greatly due to the many details, repairs, and replaced parts. Liam thanks her for her efforts and expresses his gratitude. Master Yasushi expresses his great joy at seeing Alistrazama's favorite unit working again. Then Liam sits in the cockpit and Nias begins to explain to him how to pilot it. The engine starts, and a scan is performed, identifying Liam as the pilot. No one else will be able to operate the mechanical knight. Then Liam begins to launch, but Nias tells him that this unit does not have automatic balancing or other assistance functions. However, once he can control it, it will be stronger than any other unit. Liam understands her words and begins to move the mech, becoming more proficient. We see the assistant Baryon crying because he sees the favorite mech of Grandfather Alistair being piloted again by Liam. Then we see Liam with Amagi, training with a sword. He is sad because he has not yet been able to grasp the secret art of the flash style, and perhaps he has no talent for it. Amagi tells him that she doesn't know the meaning of talent, but she is confident in him and certain that he is capable of anything. She thinks the problem lies in Master Yasushi's instructions, and she also has doubts about that man. Liam tells her that he also doesn't completely trust Master Yasushi, which is why he is bad at understanding his instructions. She tells him that she didn't mean it that way. He tells her that it's true, there is magic in this world. If a phenomenon is physically impossible, it means that magic is at work, and the sword is just a tool to aid imagination, just like piloting a moving mech. Then Liam focuses more on the training and succeeds in the flash style step-by-step. Then Liam goes to Master Yasushi and tells him that he is ready. He uses his sword and successfully cuts the tree using the flash style. Yasushi is surprised that Liam was able to do that because he had been lying to him in his instructions. Liam feels that the master is not entirely happy that he succeeded. Then Yasushi tells him that he has succeeded in learning, but he still has a long way to go to reach the true essence, so he must continue to hone his skills without becoming arrogant. He leaves Liam and walks away, angry and surprised that Liam succeeded. We see Liam and Amagi in the room, and his assistant Baryon informs him that the only part of the Banfield domain that was not confiscated to pay off their debts is the resource planet Makai. Amagi tells him that the environment of that planet is harsh and mining there is very difficult, so it was left alone. However, she established a facility on that planet to generate profit for them. Baryon informs them that a pirate fleet is targeting that facility and attacking it, and they have deployed mobile knights. The army is resisting, but it is unknown how long they can hold out against the mobile knights. Liam asks about their combat strategy. Amagi tells him to approach the planet's blind spot opposite the mining facility and use the horizon as a shield for attack. While descending using air brakes while rotating due to gravity, they will surprise them from directly above. Liam orders all ships to move and prepare for battle to seize the pirate ships, and he will go to defend the facility. Baryon tells him that the Lord cannot face the pirates alone. Liam tells him to shut up, as he will not allow anyone to take control of his property. Then Liam gets into the moving knight and begins to launch. The war between the two armies begins. The army attacks the pirate ships and manages to defeat them. Then we see Liam fighting skillfully and using a beam rifle. Nias tells him, that's not the weapon's name at all. The pirates decide to attack Liam all at once. Liam decides to use the flash style and eliminates a large number of them. The rest decide. Liam then uses his finishing move and delivers a rocket punch. Then Amaja appears and tells him that she failed in her mission. She didn't capture even 10% of the pirate fleet. About 30% were destroyed and about 60% fled. Liam tells her that he is happy with her because despite that, they managed to win the war. And so ends our episode today. To watch more episodes, please subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button. Gil learns from his lackey about Liam's victory and can't believe that things have turned against their favor. He had clearly underestimated Liam's prowess. But it doesn't matter. He isn't going to give up until he sees Liam on his knees begging for his sorry life. However, what triggers his fragile ego even more is the fact that his allied fleet ran away from the battlefield after being defeated by Liam. So he orders his lackey to launch all of their ships to destroy that fleet, regardless of whether they are allies or not. He wants to make an example out of them so that no one ever dares to disobey or look down on the pirate. For now, he wants to have some fun with his latest toy, Princess Christiana, whom he has already turned into an abomination, revealing that her eyes are now on her palm. Meanwhile, Liam returns to his main battleship and expresses his satisfaction to Amagi, stating that he enjoyed every bit of his battle against the pirates. Amagi congratulates her master on his effortless first battle, thanking him for defending their resource planet successfully. Liam is happy that he even got to capture some of the pirate ships, which he can now claim as his own, since that is the law of this empire. Liam can't wait to have all the treasures for himself that are inside those pirate ships, but becomes extremely disappointed when he learns that the cargo inside doesn't contain any conventional goods like gold. Both Amagi and Brian encourage Liam to be excited since the resources inside the cargo are far more precious than gold, revealing that it was carrying a large number of rare metals like orichalcum adamantine, and mithril. Apparently these metals are used to make weapons, but Liam the Muttonhead wants gold crowns and chests full of diamonds, the cliche stuff. However, according to Amagi, in this universe, diamonds aren't valuable at all since they are just crystals made out of the most common element in the universe, carbon. Amagi continues, stating that gold also holds no value because of its low ionization tendency. I don't know what Liam learned after spending ages in the damn education capsule, but anyway, he finally understands, yet still expresses his love for gold, telling Brian to bring some to him so that he can satisfy his greed from his past life's needs. Brian promises Liam that they have enough gold in their inventory, as it is used as a layering material when producing electronic devices. Hearing this, Liam orders Brian to turn the rest of the gold into gold coins, expressing his desire and dream to have his bedroom filled with gold coins. Bro's 30 by now, and adding his previous life's age, he's now over 60 but still acts like a baby. That's just crazy. But whatever, the Lord's wish is the servant's command, even though Amagi gives Liam the judgmental side-eye for a second, indicating how disappointed she is at this spoiled brat. While Liam is wasting time asking Brian to make fancy old-school useless swords using the rarest metals, Amagi interrupts him, telling him about a serious problem they encountered when they sent out their army. Using a holographic image, she shows Liam the current number of battleships in his territory, which stands at 10,000, but apparently fewer than 30 operate properly, and only 20 are available for emergency sorties. Liam is surprised to learn that his army defeated the pirates with only 20 battleships. Well, it was mostly Liam himself using his mobile knight who drove the enemies away. And there's also the factor that the pirates underestimated them, thinking they were poor, which contributed to their loss. Liam gives Amagi some credit as well, saying her battle strategy helped in all seriousness. Liam wonders if he should just get rid of the useless old ships, to which Amagi gives her support. But Brian instantly objects, stating they cannot just throw away 7,000 of their ships, because if they do, the enemies will underestimate them. Amagi and Brian get into a heated argument regarding this issue, but ultimately, Liam unsurprisingly takes Amagi's side, deciding to follow her suggestion to buy second-hand battleships using the money earned from selling the rare materials he just seized from the pirates. The only reason he doesn't trust Brian's judgment is because by following Brian's advice, the last head of this territory, Liam's father, created a mountain of debt that has now fallen squarely on Liam's shoulders. Somewhere else on another planet, NAS is attending an expo to present investors with the newest battleship her manufacturing team, the 7th Weapons Factory, has developed, but the design and color scheme are so, having the lack of better words to describe this dog, that the investors don't care, even if her battleship is significantly more powerful than those made by other factories. After NASA's presentation, Ulishia, the engineer from the 3rd Weapons Factory, unveils her battleship, which, not gonna lie, looks 1,000 times better compared to NASA's. It features a first-ass interior, along with luxury living quarters designed specifically for nobles. So, of course, the investors unanimously chose Ulia's battleship for their army, leaving Nas completely ashamed and humiliated at being outperformed by her. She had poured everything into the ship's performance, and as a result, she lost, but she still just can't accept the fact that looks matter. Not wanting to get yelled at by her boss, she decides to exploit Liam once again by manipulating him into buying all of her battleships, referring to him as a total dumb sucker. The guide appears once again, and just like any other day, he is in search of some negative emotions to feed on. He finds a guy wasting his life cursing while playing Velo all day. After collecting some tasty malevolence from him, the guide heads to Liam's universe to eat the big fish, assuming Liam's negative emotions must have accumulated a lot over these past couple of years. But when the guide arrives on Liam's planet, he is absolutely stunned to see the growth of Liam's territory, leaving him wondering how this muttonhead managed to turn a town that looked like an undiscovered ancient ruin just a few years ago into a modern city. Even so, the guy doesn't lose hope just yet. Recalling the useless con artist he once sent into Liam's path years ago, disguised as the Swordsmaster, he holds on to the hope that Guy has contributed something to turn Liam into a total loser. The guide is angry, to say the least. He cannot imagine that things aren't going the way he wishes. Meanwhile, the citizens start saying good things about their lord. They enter into a bar where they discuss how Liam had been able to capture pirates and even get several goods from the pirates he had captured. He is indeed way different from his father, and the way he rules suits them a lot. However, there is someone in that same bar that isn't excited about Liam. That person is Yasushi, a fraud through and through. He complains about his student with all his might. The attendant, seeing how frustrated he sounds, tries to ask him what is wrong. He reveals that no matter how much he ensures that his student doesn't understand swordsmanship, the boy keeps getting good. The woman can't understand why he is angry that his student is good. For every teacher, this should be a good thing. Well, not for a fraud who calls himself a teacher. He complains that at his best, he is nothing but a third-class, maybe second-ass swordsman. But to his shock, Liam is slowly getting to first class. This could mean two things. Either Liam has clocked him and is just pretending, or Liam hasn't clocked him but will soon. No matter the possibility, it still means doom for him. The guide comes inside to see feedback. Nothing works according to his plans either. He had sent Liam a bad teacher, but Liam's life is an irony of what he wants. As they both lament, Liam is at home practicing his sword. He cuts several trees at once, and he is excited. He knows he has gotten better. But the fool still thinks Yasushi is way better than him. He speaks to Amagi to know if he has the same speed as Yasushi, but Amagi sees no difference. Knowing good things do not just happen to him, he doesn't want to waste his life. He thinks about his life again. He was reincarnated as a son to parents who left him with loads of debts, but now he is a good swordsman. He has started paying off some of his debts, and things are going well for him. To him, all this is because of the guide. He appreciates the guide, but his gratitude only brings the guide a load of heartache. As a creature who only lives on misfortune, gratitude is a poison to him. He feels like dying, and he looks around for anyone that he could get negative energy from. Thankfully, Yasushi's negative energy is available for him to live on. It is not enough for him, and he really needs Liam to fail. He consoles himself that the best time a person fails is when the person is at the verge of success. So he would wait until Liam is almost successful so that the misfortune he will get will be much. At the castle, Amagi comes to inform Liam that the Imperial Army are thinking of disposing of their old weapons. Since they need second-hand weapons, it will be best to buy from the Imperial Army. The deal seems nice to Liam, but it has a condition. A condition that may be the downfall the guide wants. The condition is that he has to take some of the Imperial armies too as a part of the exchange. Getting stupid soldiers is bad for him, but Amagi advises that these soldiers are educated and they will be good, so he proceeds with the deal. The guide watches, hoping that the soldiers will rebel against him when they come, and it will be his greatest downfall. Fingers crossed to see what will happen. The next day, Yasushi wakes up with a severe hangover. He regrets drinking, but he doesn't have enough time to process his regret when Nice comes to visit him. She has her own reasons for coming. She wants to know about Liam so she can pitch her crazy weapons to him. On the other hand, Yasushi assumes she visited him because she likes him, and he looks good. I really hope he looks at the mirror. Their conversation ranges from delusions to stupidity. She eventually asks him what could be Liam's fetish. What is that thing that if she does around Liam, even if he isn't interested in her weapon, he will buy that weapon? However, she isn't straightforward with him. He assumes that she is asking him what he wants in a woman. He tries to dodge the conversation so he won't tell her his fetish, but she is very persistent. He assumes she loves him a lot and can't understand what it means not to be around him, so he spills. He tells her how he likes his skirts, short and revealing, that he likes flashy underwear, he enjoys seeing tight suits, and even the type of stockings he loves for her. She assumes he is telling her about Liam, so she takes the suggestion and sets out to see Liam, looking all glammed and glamorous with her tight and short skirts that reveal what is under, and her tight suit with the flashy underwear. Her presence doesn't even appeal to him. She barely even looks as good as me, so why will he like her? She tries to shake all she had brought before even pitching, but he commands her to go straight to her pitch. She tells him about the weapons, but he refuses to buy. He had just bought them from the Imperial Army. She is angry that the third weapon is still working against her. She begs him to at least buy from her. She starts shaking everything. Instead of getting excited at what she is shaking, he is getting annoyed. He recalls that in his past life, his wife also had those kinds of underwear. She didn't wear them at night to him, which means she probably wore them to meet the man she was cheating with. His expression changes. She assumes it is because he likes it. But no, what he is seeing is actually traumatizing, and he hates the sight. Although Dai sells worth weapons, you can't deny her persistence, since she insists he must buy, and her sights irritate him. He decides to buy so she can leave. He asks Amagi if they have the funds, and fortunately for her, Amagi advises that they have the money and it wouldn't be a waste, so they should buy. She is so excited that she falls down with her entire body exposed as she rushes out of the castle. As she leaves, she calls her colleague at work. He brags that Liam had bought from her because she looked so good, and Liam couldn't even take his eyes off her body. Brian overhears this conversation, angry that his boss could fall for just body. On the other hand, Yasushi overhears her, and he is angry. He is the one with that fetish. And he is angry that those fetishes were used on Liam, who enjoyed it instead of him. This Liam they are all concerned about is laying on Amagi's legs, enjoying the kingly pleasure that he really wants. Soon after, Nas delivers Liam all 300 of the battleships she forced him to order from her. At the same time, the battleships Liam brought from the Imperial Army also arrive. Amagi gets a receipt from the Imperial Army via quantum teleportation, and she asks Liam for his signature on the receipt by repeating the word quantum several times. So Liam jokingly places his thumb finger on her melons, stating it will be his quantum thumbprint. Got him. Anyway, Yasushi is chilling inside his home, wondering how he's going to take revenge on Liam for snatching Nas away from him every single time. He recalls Nias's plot, regretting the fact that Nias wasted her precious treasures on that doll-obsessed brat. He can only imagine what Liam must have done to poor innocent Nas, and vows to make Liam pay for everything. As his anger builds up, the guide reveals himself to have been watching and devouring all of Yasushi's negative emotions. The guide cannot wait to see what Naz's anger will lead to, and can only hope that this anger will lead to Liam's eventual downfall. The guide places his trust in this con man and leaves for another realm, looking for more negative emotion. Nas brings Liam to the battleship she made to show it around to him. Liam doesn't expect anything luxurious or at all stylish. He doesn't expect anything at all from this incompetent woman, but the interior still disappoints him. Nas explains that luxurious interiors are just for decoration and hold no real value in war. But Liam doesn't care. He wants decoration. Nas can't change Liam's mind, and she isn't going to add any fancy interiors, so they both agree to disagree and move on to the next topic about how to use this ship. Nas briefs Liam on the instructions for how to ride the ship, including how much power to use at the beginning and how frequently he needs to change the fuel. He also tries to make him buy a loyalty card, saying he'll get a discount on maintenance fees if he does so, but Liam isn't interested in it. Nas moves on and shows Liam the throne of this battleship, which still has a protective film on it. She gets eager to tear off the protective film and keeps pushing to close the deal, trying to entice him with her body, and tells him to just go ahead and sign the receipt. She even gives him the option to thumbprint on her melons. But that just leaves Liam disappointed, leaving Nas wondering if this guy is gay or something? Liam just wants to get it over with, so he agrees to sign the receipt. But Nas, still not satisfied, asks Liam for a favor. She wants the pirate ships Liam sees the other day, but Liam refuses, stating he plans to incorporate those ships into his fleet. Nah, still keeps on insisting like a greedy bee, so Amagi steps in, suggesting that they give Nas some of the pirate ships and in exchange make her modify and fix the rest of the ships for them. Liam loves the idea since all of the pirate ships are in complete wreck, and Nas also agrees, revealing that the only reason she wants to get her hands on the pirate ships is because she wants to see what kind of technology the pirate ships use. Apparently, the technology is unknown and the equipment comes from outside the Empire, and that's why Nas wants to study it and use the technology on her own models. But before closing the deal, Liam visits the pirate ships first, along with Amagi and Nas, entering one that is not in a total wreck, and he can immediately notice the difference between the design and the interface. The ship literally has a helm like a classic pirate ship, and Liam loves it so much that he wants to put it on his own battleship. Nas the normie goes into a detailed explanation of why this is a bad idea, but Liam shuts her up, being a man of culture, and makes it clear that if he wants it, he is going to have it, regardless of whether it's useless or not. Nas ignores Liam and starts exploring the room, nerding out every time she sees something new. Meanwhile, Liam notices a tiny glowing dog heading to another room, so he follows it along with Amagi, and it eventually leads him to a navigation room. His footsteps trigger a mechanism on the ground below, and it displays the ship's trajectories up until now. Amagi analyzes the trajectory and realizes that this ship has been ravaging the entire Empire. But what interests him more is that the ship always ends up at one of the warp gates in the border area. Apparently, this area is a lawless zone outside the Empire's control, and also happens to be the front line of a war zone between the Empire and another country. Liam realizes that this warp gate must lead to the pirates' hideout, and once Amagi analyzes the coordinates, she figures out where the secret pirate base is. She goes into a scientific explanation about how difficult it is to reach the area, stating how abnormal its orbital radius is and how challenging it would be to travel there. But Liam doesn't bother understanding any of it. He is more focused on what the hideout might hold for him. He suspects the place is a treasure island where the pirates sneak around regularly to store their greatest treasures, although Liam is being delusional. Amagi lets him decide what to do with this information, and he excitedly declares that their fleet will immediately go on a treasure hunt. Soon after, Goaz gets the news that Liam has started an attack and has already defeated some of his underlings at the front line. He brings the underlings before him, deciding to punish them for tainting the pirate name by being defeated by a trash can. Before dealing with these losers, Goaz commands his subordinates to bring him Liam's head, sending everyone to the battlefield and deploys all of his ships. Liam, along with his fleet, heads to the warp gate that leads to the pirates' hideout, but they are not allowed to use the gate because there is an apparent toll fee that needs to be paid to the Empire. The officer handling the warp gate connects with Liam, explaining that since the gate covers a huge distance and Liam intends to warp 7,000 ships, it will require a lot of money. Liam promises to pay later once he's done, but the officer doesn't trust his credibility. So Liam asks Amagi to find him someone credible, but sadly they have no connections. Liam explains the situation to the officer again, telling him that he intends to pick a fight with the pirates, but that only makes the officer more unwilling to allow it, since Liam cannot even guarantee a safe return, let alone the due payment. Liam hasn't brought any fund, and it took him several days to come here, so he cannot just go back. So Liam demands the officer to let him speak to his manager. Unfortunately for him, the officer is the highest ranking person here, so Liam just throws a tantrum and ends the call. He comes up with an idea and decides to meet the officer face to face to negotiate a deal. While he keeps trying to see how he can convince them at the Rap Gate to allow him into the Harmonia Gate without the gate fee, Goaz and his spaceship arrive at the Harmonia Gate. He has all his connections at that gate, and despite being the villain in this situation, he doesn't have to beg anyone to let him in. Indeed, the ones with the money run the world. He calls the rapper, and the person he knows there greets him excitedly, asking him where he's going from the Harmonia Gate. He reveals that he is going to the Domos Gate. The Domos Gate leads to nothing. Everyone knows there is barely anything for a villain like Goaz to gain in that city. The man asks what he wants to do in a wasteland. What's the man's business, though? Goaz shares the same opinion as I do here. He asks the man what concern it is of his, and states that since he has the money, he should be allowed to enter without issue. He pays immediately. Meanwhile, Liam arrives at the Rap Gate, physically hoping that he can use his negotiating skills to gain entrance. He asks to enter, and the man says there is no issue. He is excited until the man cuts him short by asking for his gate fee. Liam first tries to brag that he is a noble and can get them the money, but the attendant isn't fazed by his weak boasting. When he sees that boasting doesn't work, he becomes humble, begging the attendant to please let him in. But the attendant doesn't care. He adds lies to his drama by bowing in tears, saying he wants to see his sick mother and that the trip is necessary. See your sick mother? With this huge number of ships? Your mother must need ships to recover. Seeing that his lies don't work, he turns and says he wants his mother to see his fleets before she dies. Well, the man tells him to return, get the money, and come back, if indeed his mother is that important. The man receives a call regarding Goaz's passage, so he leaves to deal with other things. Liam is angry that his negotiating skills are no longer working. He walks around the place and sees the dog again. He follows the dog. At the Rap Room, they see Goaz's passage. Knowing that Liam's ship is also in the waiting room, they realize the clash isn't going to be a gentle one. They were the ones in the wrong since they received payment from a pirate without knowing where he was going. So they decide to turn a blind eye. Everyone working there goes on a break so that when the clash happens, it will seem as though they weren't in attendance. After they all leave the room, Liam finds himself there. He sees it's a rap gate and there's a pirate ship around Parmonia Gate. He assumes the attendant had given him passage and even told everyone to leave so no one would know he gave him passage without payment. Looking at the screen again, he sees the raps moving in opposite directions. He assumes it was a mistake on the part of the attendant and sits down to correct. It spoils Guaz's movement, but since his trip continues, he doesn't see any issue. Suddenly, Amagi calls Liam to return. When he gets back, she tells him they've gotten a letter of credibility, not from a noble, but from Nas. Since they've bought a lot from her, well, one good turn surely deserves another, he happily appreciates her and comments that the officers were ready to bend for them. But now that they have the letter, it will be easy for them to enter. He commands Amagi to launch into the wormhole, and she does as commanded. Their trip to Parmonia Gate begin, and fortunately for them, Goaz and his people had left their base, so they will be caught unaware. On the other hand, Goaz becomes impatient. He is meant to reach Damo's gate within 30 minutes, but the journey has been going on for a while and he hasn't gotten there. He asks his rider, who is also concerned, but they see a gate in front of them and assume it is their destination. Since they didn't know about Liam's tweak to the wormhole, they enter the gate. When they get there, they see red everywhere. Several spaceships are there, ready to launch and fight them. They realize they are in a danger zone, as they have entered the Imperial Army zone. While it is doomed for them, it is fortunate for Liam. He eventually arrives at his destination, and while Amagi wants to check their coordinates, he doesn't need that. He can see the several pirate ships and knows that is the treasure island they've been looking for. Amagi looks further and sees that none of the spaceships are activated, meaning they aren't ready for war and aren't prepared. Liam decides to take this opportunity to attack them unaware. He tells Amagi to launch the ships. She releases the other spaceship to attack while he enters his own spaceship named Avid. Within a few seconds, he launches several attacks at the island. He uses his rocket punch to destroy all of their ships, and with his Avid crush, he crushes them. All this goes on without Goaz knowing what is happening to his island. In fact, it's even unsure what he's going through on the Imperial Army Island where he has found himself. Liam sets the spaceship on fire. Amagi comes to report to him that all the spaceships have been set on fire, but that isn't enough for him. He is there for the treasures on the island, and that is what he will take. He tells Amagi to release the mobile knights. She does as commanded, and all the mobile knights target the rock-like island in front of them. He looks from his ships, excited to hunt treasures. I hope he finds gold, since gold is his favorite treasure. It is unsure how Goaz will react to this hit, but I can assure you that there are exciting times ahead. Subscribe here to see the next. Then we see Christina's return to the palace, where her family welcomes her. She tells them that she has successfully completed the mission of expelling the space pirates, and her family thanks her for bringing peace to the kingdom. Then, her sister Rowan approaches her and tells her that she wants to become a skilled knight like her. Christina tells her that she is still young and will become even better than her when she grows up, promising to teach her swordsmanship as well. Suddenly, a very strong attack occurs from the pirate army, and they wonder how the pirates reached them, as the Unified Federation is supposed to protect them. Then, they completely destroy the planet and kidnap Christina, escaping with her. They take her and imprison her with many other girls. Christina tries to calm them down, assuring them that they will get out of there, and that the resistance forces must be planning a rescue operation. And the pirate leader enters, and Christina angrily tells him to release all the girls and that she will stay with him because they are innocent. He tells her that they will all become his pets and that he is not thinking of killing any of them, but he has decided to grant part of her request and will release only one girl. He tells her to choose one of them, or he will retract his decision. Christina cries because she doesn't know who to choose, as everyone is important to her and she wants them all to be released. However, Christina chooses one of the girls, thinking that the pirate leader will actually release her, but he takes the chosen girl to conduct experiments on her. Then, the evil doctor dissects her, and Christina screams for him to stop, fainting. When she wakes up, she finds the pirate leader with the girl who underwent the experiments, but she looks different, like a monster. Christina asks him what this is and why they are doing these monstrous things. He tells her that he enjoys it and cannot stop, and that she is next. He takes her and ties her to a chair. Christina cries and begs him to stop, saying she will do anything he wants. The doctor asks him what he wants him to do to her. The leader, Gawaz, tells him to start by removing her eyes and implanting them in the palms of her hands. Then the doctor begins to carry out the order. When he finishes, we see Christina, who looks terrifying with her eyes placed in her hands. Christina asks him to kill her immediately instead of this torture. He tells her that he cannot do that because she is the captain's favorite. Then, suddenly, an attack occurs on the pirate planet, and we see that it is Liam. He eliminates most of the pirates. Liam and his companions begin searching for the treasure and the survivors. Then, Liam grabs the doctor and his associates and asks him to hand over the treasure and the girls as well. The doctor tells him that he doesn't know what he is talking about. Liam tells him that he will kill him if he doesn't confess. Liam is surprised by this statement, as if he is talking about a dog or a cat. The doctor tells him that it is possible to transform any of those girls into any creature he wants. Then the doctor takes him to the lab, and when Liam and his soldiers see the girls and what has been done to them, they are shocked. Liam immediately kills the doctor. He approaches Christina, and she tells him that she is not his enemy, and that the doctor is the one who did this to her. Liam introduces himself, saying that he has become the leader of this place. Christina tells him to save them from here, and Liam agrees, ordering his soldiers to free everyone in the lab. Christina cries out and begs him to kill her because she sees no point in living anymore. Liam refuses and leaves, telling his friend that it might be possible to regenerate the bodies of those girls from scratch, but they will need to use some elixir and require specialized and advanced doctors, which will cost them exorbitant amounts. Liam tells him that he does not agree because the girl only asked him to save them, and that is all he will do. Then Amagi informs him over the phone that they have found treasure, and Liam becomes very excited. Then we see the guide searching for negative emotions as usual. We then see the boy preparing his food with passion, but when he eats it, he finds it tastes very bad. The guide rejoices in the bad feeling that befell the boy. Then we return to Liam and Amagi, and Nias enters, telling him that she is very happy that he attacked the pirate headquarters and seized it, and that he now has the ability to buy more warship. Liam refuses, which makes Nias very sad, and she begs him. Liam retracts his refusal and asks Amagi if he can buy warships. Amagi examines the budget and tells him that he can buy a maximum of 5,000 ships. Nias is very happy and leaves immediately, and Liam is horrified by that number. Then, Liam goes out to tell Nias that he will not buy all those ships and meets Master Yasushi on his way, who asks him to go out for training together. They go out and the training begins. Then Master Yasushi intensifies the training and launches many balls, and Liam cannot block them all with a single sword. Liam decides to use magic and creates a protective wall around himself, blocking all the balls and destroying all the targets. The master is surprised by Liam's power and leaves, telling him that he has nothing more to teach him from now on, so Liam has become a master. Yasushi advises him to go and spread the flash style in the universe, as he has become proficient in it. Liam is very excited and thanks the guide, who is the reason for his reincarnation in this world and for achieving many accomplishments in it. However, the guide becomes angry because Liam directed positive feelings towards him, as he always loves negative feelings only, and he threatens him. Thus ends our episode today of this anime. To watch more episodes, please subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Liam now faces a new problem. He arrived in the world wanting to be an evil overlord, but he hasn't done a damn thing the entire time he's been there, or at least nothing truly evil. To be an evil lord, he must prioritize 3 things: power, money, and of course women. These are the stereotypes of all generic villains. Power, one could say, he already has. After all, he already wields a sword and commands a large armed fleet with a super badass robot. Now, all that's left is money and women. Miyagi tells him that some benefactor from some company has come to see him. He lets him in, and Sir Thomas enters with a very special shipment for Liam. First, he greets him and congratulates him on kicking the space pirates' asses. Liam tells him to set aside the flattery and show him the good stuff. Thomas obeys and displays a shipment of gold bars. This only excites Liam because, as we recall, gold there is the cheapest thing you can find. It's like copper, only they use it more for appliances, meaning it's even more useless. Thomas also wants to ask him a favor. Since trading through space is very difficult because it's full of space pirates, he asks Liam to lend him some ships from his fleet to escort his vessels. Miyagi tells Liam that the battleships are loaded and ready for whatever he needs, and besides, his troops can gain experience by going on missions. Liam agrees to lend him a part of his fleet, but in exchange wants more gold. Idiot, Thomas says, but he accepts delighted. On their way back to where Thomas came from, they observe how much the B. Fiffield's domains have prospered. Despite his young age, Liam has managed to lead his people forward, which is extremely rare for any governor you can think of. What they don't understand is why the guy charges in gold. They don't get it, and they don't care. It works out better for him because he sells it to the junk dealer, and for some reason that makes him happy. Meanwhile, Liam kisses his gold, which the butler also doesn't understand. Liam tells him it's because gold is the new symbol of status and power, so he asks Miyagi to take all the gold and make a huge bath out of it. The butler now understands what he wants it for. Gold is very hygienic and, by God, hypoallergenic, which makes it a great material for a bath. Liam says no, that's not the reason, but it doesn't matter. He's happy to have received his first bribe. The pursuit of riches and women with this, he can cross power and being rich off his list. Now he just needs women. It's time to build a harem of old women to fulfill all his dirty foot fantasies. So he orders a huge bath to be built, which he calls the Hall of Virility, which, we agree, is the most virgin-sounding thing we've ever heard. He explains to May and his butler, I don't know if this guy has a name, but for now we'll baptize him Alfred Chan, that he's going to fill his enormous bathtub with alcohol and hang meat from the ceiling and force-feed it to his women. May interrupts his plans, and Liam asks him not to try and stop him. It's what his evil self desires, and it will be fulfilled no matter the cost. May tells him that after the tremendous loot they got from the pirates, his bath costs peanuts. More than anything, he wanted to warn him that if he fills the place with alcohol, the vapor would be toxic and could be a health problem. Not to mention, it's flammable. Liam says they'll use a softer alcohol then, but still, Miyagi doesn't think it's a good idea to drink alcohol where one is bathing. How disgusting. So Liam tells him he'll put purifiers to clean it. Miyagi tells him that if he purifies the alcohol, then only water will remain. It would just become a common swimming pool. Alfred advises against hanging meat, calling it unhygienic. He asks if Liam plans to use raw or cooked meat. Cooked meat, he explains, would make the place look like a fried pork rind stand, while raw meat would resemble Don Yui's butcher shop. Liam dislikes both options, so they propose hanging platters of prepared meat instead. It'll look like a buffet, but it's an improvement. Liam is losing enthusiasm for the idea and agrees to drop it. However, he won't be deterred from getting old women and declares that nothing they say will stop him. May notes it's about time, and Alfred adds that as a leader of a house, it's normal for him to have a harem. In fact, it's concerning that it took him so long to build one. Alfred even suspected Liam might blow the whistle, or at least had an interest in May. Luckily, he calmed down a bit when he fell into Nias's traps of seduction. Liam denies this, claiming he only bought her wares out of pity and was never overcome by lust. The harem selection. Since he has his companion's blessing, Liam begins selecting women. Alfred asks how many women he wants. Liam thinks 10 sounds good, but as an evil overlord, he must be excessive, so he requests 100. Alfred is surprised and says 100 is too few. He has 150 at his own house. May agrees, stating she had already gathered 10,000 candidates and was going to give him at least 1,000. Liam tells them to stop messing around. That's a lot. He asks them to be reasonable. How long will it take him to animate them? Alfred says that doesn't matter. The important thing is for him to start trying women to see which one suits him best. Liam says the reason he's taken so long is because he has Miyagi, but even she warns him that she can't have children as she's a newer model. Liam clarifies he meant that she meets all his demands in a woman. Alfred insists he at least get a real woman to put his mind at ease. He just wants Liam to stop whipping the doll against the wall for a bit and whip a real one instead. They ask him to just select the ones he likes so they can be summoned to the castle. Liam asks if it's as easy as buying on Amazon. They explain that he's the damn ruler of a planet. It's almost literal that any girl would be happy to please him and raise her status. Request for a wicked challenge. This doesn't sit well with Liam. He wants resistance, a challenge. He wants them to say no and him to say yes. He wants to feel evil. And because he was cheated on in his past life, he wants to reject all those who want to be with him, and incidentally take one who is married to another to be an NTR, Natarare, a Japanese subgenre where someone's partner is seduced or stolen. So he goes out into his city to deliver an evil monologue. As he's always in his palace, he doesn't know his cities or even their culture, but he still believes everyone there belongs to him. He goes out into the street to look for women for his harem, He finds a very beautiful young lady and puts on his handsome mode, like Makamika Romus. He approaches her and asks her out. Whoa. This kid has collagen, the girl says. She's happy with the idea and says yes. But then a pink snot starts coming out of her nose. Gross! It disgusts Liam and Miyagi. Of course, the boy is more shocked to see that and doesn't understand why everyone around him has a colored snot inflating in their nose. It turns out these things are the latest fashion in his kingdom and are called nasal balloons. Since it's something very informal, no one uses it in the castle. However, it's very popular among women because they think it's KYI, like Turnerites and Lobbybus. Leo is annoyed because it makes people look silly. Miyagi says if he doesn't want to use it, she can wear one for him, but Leo forbids her from ever wearing one. He then orders those things to be forbidden forever. Tough luck, they're screwed. Liam is disappointed with his planet's culture. It's nothing like the sci-fi novels he imagined. He expected to see girls showing a lot of unnecessary skin, but he only found colorful snot. To make matters worse, people wear full swimsuits at the beaches. What a damn shame. Alfred tells him that at least it 100% protects them from UV rays, yes, but Liam complains because it also protects them from his lust. The boy isn't going to allow his world's culture to go to hell like that, so he decides to focus on improving it. Miyagi doesn't understand the need. The culture is developing normally, but Liam doesn't like how it's developing, so he summons models and designers, the best in the entire empire. Miyagi tells him, "Oh dear, I don't think that's possible, young master. Apparently, that's very expensive and we can't afford it now. To sign the best model in the empire, they'd have to sell the entire empire." William says it's fine, he'll settle for just the most beautiful women in his empire to paint them to his liking. But Miyagi tells him he already has that. The most attractive women in the empire already work at the castle. Liam realizes this is true, but he doesn't think it's right to take advantage of the staff. However, Miyagi tells him that's not a problem. It doesn't break any laws. Everyone who agrees to work in the castle does so with that in mind. Even for her, it would be a huge status boost. Liam asks if he should have gone after them from the beginning, but to play the evil lord a bit and disguise his true feelings, he says, yes, absolutely. That's what I planned to do from the start, but I got distracted with Ami. Alfred continues to beg him to stop jerking off the robot and find a real woman instead. Liam insists it's not fun to go after those women and asks if he'd prefer him to order men. Liam feels frustrated. He didn't think being an evil lord would be so exhausting. Now he just wants to splurge money on trivial things. He'll worry about the rest later. Meanwhile, we see Christiana awake in a recovery dome. She looks at her hand, and yes, she sees her hand. Before, she couldn't see her hand because her eye was in her hand. Then a doctor enters, and damn, what was Liam talking about when he said he didn't like fashion? I mean, culture and medical development are going well. The doctor is practically working in her underwear. She explains to Christiana that they recreated her body with regenerative medicine. Christiana can't believe what she sees. Her body is back to normal. She thinks she's dreaming and that it's a beautiful dream before she passes on to the other world. The doctor tells her it's not a dream, that they basically used a mythical elixir on her. But Christiana doesn't understand why they spent something so valuable. She thinks it's all a mistake because she has no way to pay them back. She lost her job, her family, her status, and basically her entire world. The doctor tells her that no one is charging her, that all the monster duffus they had are in treatment, all by order of the great Lord Banfield. But she does point out that the Lord has asked for a favor in return. Christiana realizes that the Lord was the boy who saved her after so many decades, trapped as a monster. Now that boy becomes her god. If you've made it this far in the video, don't forget to write the word exquisite in the comment box. A billion thanks, and see you in the next one.